This is a short tutorial on how to set up the signal controller as a flasher for the gate crossing. So we have an O-scale flasher here that we made, and we have the manual and a few things. So let's get right into it. We're going to use our power module to power this 12 volt DC 1 amp. So here's the signal controller manual, and it talks about and shows you in here the configuration of the signal controller. So if you're lost as to where things go, on page 8 of the manual, there it is. And so we have also, when you buy our crossing in a box, or you buy the components and tell us that you're going to make a crossing which is unassembled, you'll get this sheet. So here's the instruction manual, an instruction sheet, and the signal controller is in the middle, and you can see that we've labeled the terminals on the side. Here's the power module, sound and precision detector. We're not going to deal with those today. We're just going to hook up the flasher and show you how to do some basic troubleshooting. All right, so here's the flasher. A couple of things here. If you buy this from us, the black wires, which may or may not be connected, are ground. If you buy any of the flashers from China, the common is going to be plus, and it may be black wires plus, or it may be red wires plus for the ones that come from China. I've discovered both, and it's very confusing. So you would think that the two red wires would be the common for plus, but that's not always the case. All right. So the other thing is you never want to connect voltage directly to things that are LEDs. You always want at least some kind of resistor in the middle. And on our bench, we use this, we just have this little thin piece of board, and I have a lithium battery and a plus and a minus, and there's a 1K resistor here so that we don't burn out the LED. So all I do is I just connect and touch the ground wire to the plus here, and connect the two reds, and you can see I can test that the light works. All right, you can do this with a battery as long as you put a resistor of at least 500, maybe 1K. 1K means 1,000 ohms. All right, so we're going to use that. The other cool thing about this, if you ever consider it, you can buy these small lithium batteries on Amazon and elsewhere, and find the one that comes with this little JST plug, because you can unplug this, and this will go into the charger, and then we just can stick the wires in. This is solid core 22 gauge wire, and this is just some copper tape that I just taped right down onto the wood. So pretty simple. All right, let's get back to this. A couple of things before you start wiring things up. We highly recommend that you do one thing at a time. So we're going to just do the flasher today, set up the flasher with the signal controller, and when you plug it in and turn on power, the blue light will come on, and then about a second later it will blink twice. Don't worry if it looks like it blinks 3 times or whatever. It just is going to blink, and that means that the controller is ready. All right, so if you plug it in and add power and you don't get the blinks, then there's something wrong with the controller. Contact us and we'll see what you can do. At that point, trying to configure things and reset it, if it doesn't do that initial startup properly, none of the pushes of the button are going to make any difference. So don't waste your time on that. So we have that ready. Okay, so the other thing to jump into is on the first page here. If you buy the crossing in the box assembled, we've already done this for you. We've already set it up. All you have to do is add power. If you buy it unassembled, or you buy the parts separately, you'll have to do 3 things to set up the signal controller as a flasher controller. The first one is to set the controller in 5 volt mode. It will run 12 volt mode, but for this setup we want 5 volt. Cathode mode means we have a common ground. So common ground is going to be the black wires. By the way, soldering these very fine wires is always difficult, and then trying to insert those fine wires into the terminals is equally difficult. So what I did is I just took a piece of solid core wire. This is the common. I twisted them together and soldered the wire on. So now I have something to grab onto. And I did the same thing for the plus side. Let me just pull that around so you can see that I just soldered the wires on there. So that makes my life easier. All right, so we're going to put the controller in cathode mode, and then we're going to set the controller to flasher mode. In order to do that, those things, we're going to go open the book, and on the second to last page, page 25, it gives you this section called Use the Hold and Select Mode to change. So to change the configurations, we're going to plug in the power. All right, I'm going to let it reset. All right, now I'm going to show you what the hold and select mode is. So I'm going to hold the button, the light will go off, and a couple of seconds later the light will come back on, and I release the button. And the light will start blinking. While the light is blinking, it's in hold and select mode. Eventually, if you just let it sit, after about 30 seconds, it'll revert back to normal operation. But what we want to do here, as I mentioned before, we want to set to voltage to 5 volts. The way we do that is we press the button here 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the light will blink, flash 5 times, and you're done. Okay? The second thing we want to do is set it into cathode mode, which is 3 presses. Now you know the light's solid again, so we have to start over with the hold and select, get it back into configuration mode. And now we're going to press it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay? And that's all is set there. And so we're all set up. Now I'm going to set this into aspect mode 3, which is not flashing, because I want to show you what that will look like. All right, I'm going to turn the power off, and I'm going to screw these parts into the terminal. Well, actually, I think I can just slide them in. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, I left the screw open enough that I can just slide these in. All right, so this controller at the moment is not in flasher mode. It's in 3 aspect mode. And so in that case, we have common, yellow, and red. So the lights will go on, but they won't flash, and it won't look right. Okay? All right, so now we have, since it's in red, we're going to use this trigger wire. And the way you can trigger this is the top terminal is common or ground, and the bottom is the detect. So what we're going to do is take this little jumper wire and put it into the top pin. We'll just insert it there. And now, when I touch this pin, hold it this way, to the pin, you can see that the light went on. Well, that light is actually the red terminal, which would be the proper behavior for a 3-aspect light, but we have the flasher. So the last step, as shown in the instructions, was to put the controller in flasher mode, which is 8 pushes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it will mimic those back, and it will turn the flasher off as it goes into the mode. Okay? So now we're going to trip the circuit, and you can see that the flasher is now going back and forth. All right? So if you release this, the flasher will stop. All right? Now, if you get completely lost on this, there's a way to reset this back to factory defaults in either the cathode or anode mode, and you do the hold and select as we did a minute ago, and you'll press 10 or 11 times. All right? So that's it. So what we want you to do if you have difficulty setting up the flasher is disconnect the signal, the wire from the precision detector. Don't try to simultaneously solve the precision detector issue and the signal. So just get it so that you have this set up. You have a common, you have red and yellow terminals hooked up to the flasher, and all you have to do is touch the 2, and I just slid it into the pin, and there you go. And if you want to adjust the speed now, you can use this adjustment here and speed it up and slow it down. And you can also adjust the brightness of the 2 lights.